This podcast contains explicit language.
And spoilers. Only if you suck.
Greetings, folks. Carlos here. Dave and I recorded this episode July, early August, and I've been a procrastinating, lazy bastard. That's how I say words. So you're only getting it now. Apologies for the late episode. However, most shows, radio shows anyway, take a summer break, so that's the excuse we're going to use. Stay tuned for more episodes. Dave and I have consolidated our summer to fall scheduling and other words that don't make sense in any kind of context. And there will be more episodes soon where we talk about fun new things like this character Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5, the PlayStation Vita TV, and various other issues that matter to you, the viewer. And by viewer, I mean listener, because this is a podcast and I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. Enjoy! Today, on Two Fat Guys Talk Games, Terror at Evolution 2013, Carlos goes and gets his ass handed to him. Boobs and Dragons, about Dragon's Crown, a game to be played. Or perhaps not. Sexism. And then, gamers, are they athletes? And if so, how much better an athlete are they than Olympians? As well as Xbox One self-publishing today.
On Two Fat Guys Talk Games, adding in the Steam sale on this one.
Yes, Steam sale. My name is Carlos.
And this is Dave.
Yes, I'm sleepy. I'm gonna nap for an hour, and Dave's gonna talk about all those topics.
Wake the fuck up. I will get a super soaker.
This is Kinky Talk. So I went to AVO. I got my ass handed to me. Something fierce. I entered Persona 4 Arena, got double eliminated. I entered Street Fighter 4. I didn't want to get double eliminated again, so after getting sent to losers right away, I played the crankiest old man Guile you ever did see, took a match, and then proceeded to lose again. I went 1-for-2 in Injustice, partly because I got a bye and then was sleeping and missed my match. Entered Skullgirls, got double eliminated. But I played a lot of casuals, met a lot of cool people. Shoutouts to people I met at AVO. Got to talk to Mike Z briefly. Got to talk to some other developers for some other games. Got to see Vegas. It was a good time. One of the games that I got to play was none other than Dragon's Crown.
Dragon's Crown has seen a wide variety of press so far in the last few months.
Mostly because gaming journalists are the dumbest people alive.
Well, I mean, there's not many that are above Kotaku level, and that's fucking pathetic. I mean, that's the equivalent of a rag newspaper.
It's like the Edmonton Sun of video game journalism. Shoutouts to Quebecer Media and the Edmonton Sun.
You suck.
Pro-conservative bias newspaper that us Canadians have to put up with. It's like our Fox News. Okay, it's not quite as bad.
No. It's not quite as bad as Fox News, but
they have
bad.
They have one or two left-leaning people on there.
Anyway, getting back to the actual topic instead of completely shitting on the Sun, which still sucks. Dragon's Crown saw a very wide variety of sexism comments, based on the art that was shown near the beginning.
Namely, the sorceress and Amazon
her big
classes.
Boobs. Actually, the Amazon was brought out more as a fuck you to fans. That was after big-breasted sorceress.
I'm pretty sure they were revealed at the same time, because the Amazon was still included in all these gaming journalists' kind of tirade against sexism
I don't remember the Amazon being referenced at all until later.
Oh, she's always been around. She's been muscly and scantily clad, and her butt jiggles when she walks.
See, I still to this day have not seen any actual video of the game in motion. I'm talking just the outrage at the actual artwork.
It's a little bit
ridiculous.
It's a little bit ridiculous. Basically, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard of this, because George Kamitari, or whatever the hell his name is, I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that, likes to draw sexy ladies for the various Vanillaware games, and because he drew gratuitous fan service into The Sorceress and Amazon, he and video games in general, and this particular game, they're all being called sexist. Which I personally think is silly, because sexism is a much more complex topic than mere appearance, than mere aesthetic.
It's a behavior.
It is a behavior. I would argue Princess Peach is sexist, despite being rather conservatively dressed. And I would argue Cammy is sexist because her whole shtick is, look at my hot ass by Street Fighter. But Judy in Super Street Fighter 4, despite dressing hot, I would argue is not sexist because she fits in with her evil, seductive, almost orgasmic sounding at all times character.
And yet and I'm going to do a generalization here, suck it up, and yet to the feminists who automatically assume that
Don't do that, Dave, because that's not what feminism is, and I think you know it. I don't identify as a feminist, but I am way more on their side of shit than I am on the opposite, which I guess would be MRA types and whatnot.
Okay, fine. I guess I'm more calling out the ones who automatically assume that because an artist wants to portray a character as, I'm targeting with this the ones that automatically will pan a game if the female lead or sidekick or whatever is the romantic interest. If they are attractive, doesn't have to be scantily clad or anything else, but if they are the quote-unquote typical female character in a video game.
Well, I think the issue, though, is that
it doesn't have to be like that, yes, but if that is your... We're having a staring contest here for those who can't see this, obviously.
I was in the middle of a sentence.
Fire away.
I was going to say, I think part of the problem is what is considered typical. We should try to change the definition of that. And I would argue that it's sure, there are definitely some in the feminist camp who will view something like Dragon's Crown as innately offensive. But there are many more voices on the opposite side who, you know, they're the ones who will blame rape victims and say that women shouldn't dress hot if they want to avoid sexual assault. So they'll argue that this artwork shouldn't exist because it'll make women not protect themselves, as though they need to protect themselves from assault, as though they visited it upon themselves.
I think those that want to argue that side of the story should just jump into a blender and die.
Yes, I agree, but this is where the argument against sexy clothing and sexy artwork comes from, because
I don't think so.
It's definitely a component. Alex Ahad, it was either Alex Ahad, the guy from Skullgirls, or someone else, said very clearly that sexy doesn't mean sexism, because, you know, if it fits into the aesthetic of a world, if it's an expression of art and not cynically done to push units like Cammy or Mai, it's not necessarily sexist. It's fitting in, and the fact that, you know, it's pretty to look at doesn't necessarily make it harmful.
Agreed. Completely. I just think that I agree we have to change what the definition of traditional or regular is when it comes to the female archetype, but I also don't believe that this means that game developers have to stop doing that just because a subclass of the gaming culture now finds it offensive.
Yeah, and this is another issue I have, like, I've been told that the stuff like Dragon's Crown and Skullgirls and whatnot apparently gives ammunition to those who would keep gaming and gamers on the bottom rung that would keep this hobby from being recognized as the legitimate form of entertainment and art that it is. And that seems silly to me. That's these types of people who think that gaming is just for children, they're going to think that no matter what. So giving them ammunition is ultimately like it's irrelevant. They're going to find ammunition whether or not we give it to them. And at the same time, aren't we also giving ammunition to people to criticize us if we say, hey, cover up those boobs? And we have people then attacking gaming for not being expressive, for preventing women from expressing their sexuality, right? Kind of like how in the real world, how slut walk came into effect because some dumbass cop in Toronto said women shouldn't dress hot if they want to avoid getting raped. It's kind of, this comes up a lot, I know. But I mean, it has to be discussed. Like, women have it rough in our world. They really do. And, the sorceress having her, having that tiny piece of cloth just hanging just above her nipple, is not making it worse for them. In fact, I would argue preventing that will make it worse for them because it will encourage more art to cover up for the sake of some phony idea of taste.
Agreed.
Any more on Dragon's Crown boobs, or can I talk about how it plays?
Feel free to talk about how it plays. I can't really say until the 6th.
Sure. Left analog stick moves your character. D-pad selects
Boobs?
Boobs, yes. It selects spells that are limited per mission. You can also, I couldn't at the demo, but apparently you can swap the left stick and pad functionality, which I would want to do. The right stick moves a little cursor on screen that lets you have your NPC character unlock chests and doors and whatnot. There's a jump button, there's an attack button, which also doubles as your magic charging button if you hold it, what also doubles as your dash button if you move and then start holding it. There are various types of attacks your characters can do depending on what direction you hold and how long you hold the button. The wizard, which I picked, which is the male spellcaster, for instance, can do homing missiles if he does magic or does an attack in the air, and different kinds of fireballs with down and up on the stick.
You played the Vita version or the PS3?
PlayStation 3 and I played with 3 other random people. In town, you're free to beat up on your fellows, consequence-free, and one guy kept beating me up. He's like, I'm sorry. I just hate you so much. It was pretty funny. It was a good time, but our characters were already pretty built up. They were leveled up and had some good gear, so we tore through the areas.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful game. There's a loot component, so it's more like Castle Crashers and less like, say, Shadows over Mystera. Like you referred
to it as Diablo-ish as well.
It is Diablo-ish. You can find loot, and then at the end of every mission, you have the opportunity to sell loot or identify it. Identifying it costs more, and if after you identify it, you want to sell it, it'll sell for less than if you had just sold it. You won't recoup the costs of identifying it and then selling it, right? However, there's different loot qualities, and loot is for specific characters, like only the sorceress and the wizard can equip certain staves, for instance. Loot apparently has special effects, and I think when I was scrolling through the one-time use spells, I also saw a piece of equipment on there, so there's probably some special effects you can invoke from certain pieces of gear. So, again, the comparison is Castle Crashers, how you could equip a weapon and a companion and level up your characters individually.
Okay.
That's what this is more going to be like. It's beautiful in motion. Like, I can't even... Still shots of the game are pretty, and they don't even do it justice. The detail...
So we're getting on the 6th, then?
Yeah. You, me, friend of the show, Byron, friend of the show, Shane, is mildly interested in it. I spoke with him briefly about it and told him my impressions, so he's definitely up for that. Maybe. We'll see. Friend of the show, Ike, is unfortunately put off by more of the,
aesthetic.
More of the aesthetic of it. And here's the thing, that's fine. If you look at at the art of this and you're like, I'm put off by that, I don't want to play it, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, me and Ike have had discussions on this.
Indeed. But Dragon's Crown, I say if you're gonna fault it for other flaws that kind of matter more. It's a Vanillaware game, so hopefully, unlike the other Vanillaware games, it won't be beautiful and shallow as shit. But that's just my opinion. All right, good podcast.
Speaking of shallow, Xbox self-publishing.
Indeed. They're allowing self-publishing, apparently.
No details.
No details. But they will possibly allow it, maybe.
Well, they're going to allow it, but they have not been able to stay tuned for more information as the, might as well be the tagline of the Xbox One in general, because wait 2 weeks, and it will change.
We're not saying we're going to allow you to self-publish, but we will allow you to self-publish games.
I mean, the big questions right now by devs who want to self-publish is, are they in control of prices? Is Microsoft still going to railroad them into a price they think is acceptable? Sales will be controlled by them, etc., etc. There's a lot of uncertainty there, and unfortunately, Microsoft is still... The problem with Microsoft's news conference mentality these days is they have it too quickly. They don't sit down and actually think of what are the devs or the gamers going to actually ask for questions. What are the possible downfalls, everything else. They just come out and it's like, oh, wait, no, we will self-publish. Honestly, sorry, we apologize, come back. Okay, well, what about pricing? Stay tuned! Why bother? People are pissed off at you anyway. Whether you say today you're gonna self-publish with absolutely no fucking details, if you waited another 2 weeks and said, oh, well, you can do your own pricing. Those 2 weeks would not gain or lose, well, no, I'm sorry. It's not gonna lose you any more people. It might gain you some people. It might gain you an ounce of respect by waiting those extra 2 weeks to actually hash out things rather than jumping in and just, ooh, look at me, I need attention.
I hope it is the most repressive, unfair policy ever. Just because they are so out of touch that I know they will. It's like, okay, we allow people to self-publish games, but we get to set the price and we keep 100% of the profits.
No.
I really hope that's what they do so that they are just crucified.
I'm very sure their profit sharing stuff will be higher than it should be. I guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
But Microsoft's whole problem since the Xbox One was announced officially has been that they've been out of touch with consumers.
They've been outright antagonistic towards consumers.
Feedback has been outright hostile against.
Mm-hmm.
That the consumer didn't know what we were talking about, shouldn't have been angry because we had our time wasted with all the this and that. Actually, that's not descriptive at all. That first conference where they wasted our time with all the media functions. Really, I still say Microsoft showed its true colors during that first conference before E3. Because really, yes, they had E3 coming up, and you can argue with me that they wanted to focus on one thing one time and one thing on the other time. But they came out and they basically showed us during that conference that they considered the gaming portion of their system to be the secondary function of the system.
I was about to shout out secondary.
I mean,
you're going to have an intimate relationship with your television.
I love when you bring that up because that was an intimate conference because I felt like I was being fucked
You are going to be able to give your television analingus.
I mean, and things have only, in my opinion, gotten worse. Okay, let me just take a step back on that. Gotta look at this objectively as well.
Double tap back.
So, conference came along, we were all, what the fuck? E3 came along, they had the better for exclusive gaming, but we were still like, what the fuck with the system. Sony came along and took them from behind and bitch slapped them, rode them like a donkey.
Shanked.
And then within a week they came back and said, we're sorry, no, actually
they didn't say we're sorry.
They just said
they reevaluated.
They reevaluated what the consumer was telling them, and that said that they want something more like the Sony system.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't say sorry. They basically came across as an abusive husband and said, fine, we're doing it this way, but you're losing all your toys. You're to blame for features missing.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon? You're the one making the decision to pull these features out because why? You could still do the whole family thing for digital purchases. You could still do a lot of that stuff. You're just being a whiny kid that because they didn't want to play the game my way, I'm taking my ball and going home.
Hey, I would have been okay with a digital
Steam console sounds fine.
Yeah, if they said, okay, we're not doing the whole you lend your game out thing again, but here's the benefit. Games only cost you $25 at most. Then I'd be like, whoa, okay, yeah, I'll take your Microsoft Steam box. Why not?
But
might be defunct after their networks go down, though.
Yeah.
Still a bit of a concern.
But then the next thing that comes along is they are swearing up and down they are not going to have a Kinectless system. They've told us we can turn it off, but it can only be turned off while you turn the system off. There's a lot of confusion as far, again, we're not getting the answers we need. Even they don't know what the answers are. But the thing that has me worried the most at this point, and the reason why I'm still not getting one, is in the last 2 weeks we've seen a number of articles on targeted ads based on the Kinect watching you, what you're doing, talking about, eating, whatever, and then targeting ads towards you based on that.
So what you're saying is, if I'm at my TV masturbating to some belly button licking porno, it's going to send me belly button lint clearing ads?
Sure.
That's fucking disgusting.
And a massive motherfucking invasion of privacy.
You're telling me. I mean, my belly button fetish is my own. Why would I share that with anyone?
And now anybody who's listening to this podcast. Anyway, again, showing that Microsoft is still... I understand trying to find alternative ways to make more money, and Microsoft has been, in my opinion, rather abusive when it comes to their ads, especially if you've subscribed to Xbox Live Gold. I mean, why should we see ads when we're paying your subscription fee?
Agreed. Fuck that.
So now they want to target me with the Kinect? I'm sorry, if I can't unplug the Kinect or at least turn that son of a bitch off and put a book in front of it so it doesn't see me, no, it's not coming in my house. And a lot of people have the same impression as me. A lot of people have pre-ordered the system, and Microsoft is considering it a raring success. We don't know how many systems are being made available. We don't know that for Sony either. But a lot of companies have stopped pre-orders on them. You're always going to have your really big fans who gotta have it day one. I think we're seeing more of that, especially seeing as we don't even know what the starting lineup for most of these games are yet. So we're not exactly making, at least in my opinion, we're not making informed actual decisions because there's no backwards compatibility. So hopefully you're buying it for the new games that are coming out day one, which we still don't know.
For me, there's only one game that would really sell me on that, and that's Killer Instinct, and only if it ends up being a really good game and I have enough disposable income. But as I was talking about with friend of the show Shane this morning, there are enough fighters I have on other systems that if I don't have the disposable income and Xbox One is too restrictive in other ways, I won't miss Killer Instinct. Though it's a damn shame, because it looks pretty.
It looks pretty, but I'm kind of in that same boat as well. I've got more than enough fighters to try and get better at. I was never a fan or really involved in the whole original Killer Instinct thing, so it's not a system seller for me. The only game that is really exclusive to the Xbox One that I'm not going to be able to get officially so far for PC is Zombie One.
Zombie One?
What is it? It's part 3. Oh, for Pete's sake.
The Witcher?
No. I can get that for PC.
The Walking Dead?
No. I can't get that for PC. No, it's the,
Dead Rising 3.
Dead Rising 3. Dead Rising 3 was the only thing that looked good to me, even though I complained about the whole Microsoft Surface stuff. Still don't know how that's working, but that's really the only game that interests me on the Xbox One right now. There's not... I'm still, for as little as I play them these days, I'm still very much a big RPG fan. And with the exception of Kingdom Hearts 3, which I'm interested in, nothing. They don't get any of the games from the Tales series. They don't get any of the... You look at all the RPGs that have come out in the past, I'm going to say 2-3 years, and they get a handful. They get the Final Fantasy... They get the Squaresoft ones. That's
sometimes
about it. Well, no. They got 13, 13-2, 13-3. They're getting Kingdom Hearts 3. Square's really... In my opinion, they're actually doing a proper business model by putting it on each system.
At least in North America.
Well, the Xbox One is fated to fail in Japan.
I don't even think it's going to launch in Japan.
It is.
You think so?
Now, Microsoft is going to attempt to get into Japan again with the Xbox One. I think it's going to completely and utterly fucking fail, just like with the 360. But they're going to try. They're going to blow a whole bunch of money trying.
They need a killer exclusive that Japan will care about. Well, like a Tales game or something.
But not a timed exclusive.
No, yeah, you're right. It can't just be...
If it's just a timed exclusive, all they're going to do is piss off Japan. I've got the perfect game as an example. Star Ocean, Test of Time.
Till the end of time, you mean?
Wait, that was 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking Star Ocean 4.
Star Ocean 4.
The prequel one.
Oh, not the one where they're in a giant MMO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That one was announced for Xbox 360, and that game pushed Xbox 360 systems overnight in Japan.
Tales of Vesperia did the same thing. And then there was a PlayStation version that was expanded.
Unlike with Tales, the Star Ocean one was confirmed at the time to be a console exclusive, never coming to PlayStation.
Totally coming to PlayStation.
You can actually find that article page still on Google Pictures and everything else. It was confirmed it was never making it to the PlayStation 3. A year later, it made it to the PlayStation 3, and that pissed off Japan something fierce. You had guys that bought the system that were just throwing it out the window.
Mm-hmm.
A waste, but and Japan does like its Gears and Halo.
They like Gears of War. I think I was reading their Halo love has kind of dropped off. Halo Reach didn't do too well, apparently. All the Gears games do well there. So and certain Call of Duties for some reason.
There is a underground Microsoft fan base.
Yeah, in Japan. I'm aware of.
So
hopefully Gears of War grows multi-platform so everyone around the world can enjoy Gears of War 4, the Space Ninjas.
That would definitely be nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Microsoft does need some exclusives like that will not go to other systems. But I think even if they said it, people still wouldn't touch the game for... Your diehard fans would buy the system for it, but the rest of us would wait a year or so before even trying to get it, because we'd be pretty sure it would come to the AR console.
I think they just need to re-engineer Xbox One and make it a cartridge-based system.
No.
I would have loved that if their whole reveal was a whole, like, retro reveal, like, retro-styled. And it's like, we use the latest advances in gaming technology. Cartridges.
That would require a sense of humor.
Yes.
Which Microsoft does not
Stuffy
have.
shirts do not have this. Stuffy corporate types.
Wow. Just for the audience, just go back to listen to our E3 things where we talk about the different people who were chosen to actually talk about the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Man.
You're going to have an abusive relationship with your... Wait.
No, that's still correct.
Your television is going to fist your vagina, and if you don't have a vagina, you will by the time it's done. Oh, Christ. Speaking of vaginas, guess who's an athlete now? Me. You know why? Because I'm a competitor in a sport.
Oh, God.
That's right. Carlos, fat man, is as much an athlete for the purposes of applying for a U.S. visa, if I chose to do so, as the fastest Kenyan sprinter, according to the United States government. Dave, I was torn on this when I heard it. And I wasn't. I'll explain why. Okay. I have known for a long time that competitive gaming is a sport because it is organized competition. Organized competition is sport. Whether or not people like that certain things are sports or not is irrelevant. It's like, how can darts be a sport? Look at it. Well, fuck it. It's organized competition. Synchronized swimming is a sport. Horseback riding or whatever is a sport. Golf is a sport. Professional wrestling is not a sport. Organized competition is sport. So Evolution is a sporting event, technically, right? It really is. When I hear the word athlete, my initial impression is that my initial impression was that I couldn't divorce it from the term athletic. And athletic to me means physically capable, physically capable. So maybe a gamer is athletic, but not through gaming, through other activities, right? However, I was then looking up definitions.
Oh, God.
And there are definitions of athlete which simply state, that they are skilled competitors in sport. And if true, by this definition, competitors are athletes. Here to tell us why he monstrously disagrees with this is Dave.
Have I mentioned I hate the English language?
The English language is fucked up.
And we change the definition of certain things so often.
Oh, don't even get me started on gender-neutral pronouns and the problems that arise from that.
Sure, dictionary boy. Anyway, you brought up a couple sports there that back in the day I would have told you, fuck you. That's not a sport. And here's the thing. I used to think things like darts and synchronized swimming and stuff like that really shouldn't be considered sports, but as I grew up, I had to change my view on that. Not because of some stupid fucking definition, but I consider an athlete somebody who does require a certain amount of athletic, therefore physical skill at doing something. Now, by that very definition, yes, gamers, we have reaction speed. I mean, it's the one thing that most studies will always come back with when they do gaming is that us gamers tend to be fucking fast at our reflexes.
We also tend to have, strong wits and strategy.
Yes.
At least on the competitive side.
So our gaming has increased our reaction speeds, our Some of us can rapid tap a button faster than anything. Ladies, I'm free.
He really is, too.
Thanks. Didn't need the agreement there.
I'll take it out.
Don't.
Okay.
But, I mean, we have developed in other ways. We're not running the 100-meter dash. We're not doing stuff like that. That sort of stuff gets you in the Olympics. I don't think that our hobby is going to make it in the Olympics anytime soon, because that is a physical... The Olympics are based around physical attributes. Whether you can run fast, throw things, swim, etc. It is very much a challenge of your body and how you've developed it versus another person who's tried the same thing. I understand why the US now has a esports athletic visa thing now, because esports are becoming a bigger thing. It results in events that they can tax, that they are making money from in one way or another. It's becoming a bigger thing, especially in China, Korea, etc. And that does affect events that happen here in North America. I understand why it's there. But is a person who is great at StarCraft an athlete? I don't think
Certain
so.
definitions would argue yes. However, here's the thing.
No.
Deep down, I'm on your side because I would much rather use the more appropriate term that is not connected to the root word of athletic. I would much rather use the athletic's not a root word, but whatever. I'd rather use the word competitor.
Yes.
Because competitor applies to as much to a hockey player as to Justin Wong. Competitor applies to a person who is competing in sport.
Perfect.
So
professional competitor.
Yes.
Not a motherfucking athlete.
Yes, I would like the definition to be sport is organized competition, so video games count, and participants in sport are no matter what competitors. And we leave the word athlete to not necessarily be related to sport, but an athlete is one who is athletic, which would mean that pro wrestlers are athletes.
Okay. A pro athlete or a pro wrestler, I think, is an athlete.
But
I'm not talking WWE. I'm not talking the male soap opera. I'm talking an actual professional wrestler, MMA, stuff like that.
Oh.
I'm talking an actual wrestler, like an Olympic-level wrestler. That is an athlete. Because
I was talking, if our definition of athlete is someone who is athletic professionally, then a WWE wrestler is an athlete.
They are athletic.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to have, The Rock pop up in the Olympics.
No, you're not. But I think
it's not his sport. His sport is doing athletic things in a soap opera environment.
And that's not even a sport at that point. On the other hand, though, here's the thing. Words are finicky and they're fickle, and
this is why I blame the English language. Is it has become so fluid in how we take certain terms, and the language has evolved over the centuries. An athlete in another language is probably going to be much more
athletic
or specific.
Well,
it's not a melting pot for a million things.
Mm-hmm. The issue with language is codifying all these things are reliant on human usage. It's why the apostrophe is probably going to become a thing of the past, because people just don't understand how to use this extraordinarily simple piece of punctuation. So it's probably going to disappear.
I don't know what the problem is.
You know what? Ultimately, it's probably for the best, considering how stupid people are and can't fucking tell the difference between its and its.
But it is no problem.
I will punch your penis. And the thing is, like language is codified purely by society and how we use words, right? And I like to think that sport being organized competition, competitor being a participant in sport, and athlete being someone who engages in professional athleticism is nice and tidy and keeps anyone from stepping on any toes. Then we know what an athlete is, and we know what a competitor is, and we know what a sport is. But unfortunately, these terms are flexible, so people will attribute sport to be physical organized competition, which would mean that there needs to be a component of dexterity, which video games arguably have anyway. And people will argue that athlete could be can be synonymous with competitor. And if so, Magic the Gathering stuff on ESPN features athletes, just like any other program on ESPN.
A Pokemon player would be an athlete then.
Yes, they would. And
as much of a problem as I have with that, it's not a battle that's going to be won tomorrow to try and get that changed. So, as much as it pisses me off, I'm just going to suck it up, accept it, and move on.
It's just like the terms fruit and vegetable, like culinary fruit versus scientific fruit, and
you got it.
Everything else is a culinary vegetable, or is a vegetable any edible plant, which means every fruit is also a vegetable. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's just not something that's going to change quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised the U.S. did that on one hand, but on the other hand, from the tax and everything else, it doesn't surprise me to make it easier for a competitor to come in for a couple days and do things. And that's really what that was put in place to do, is so that somebody could apply for a visa very quickly, get it, come into the country, do their thing, and leave. Because that is a very specific period of time they give you the visa for. It's not like your typical visa where you can come in for months. I've heard, I don't have the specifics, that the visas can even be as low as 7 days that you got it for.
A visa can be any number of time.
Typically, your visa is for a series of months or years. So the gamer visa was really put into place just for quick in, out, with as little muss and fuss as possible.
Well, it was more that current athletic visas just got expanded to include that. Yeah, but still, it's an interesting topic, and I like talking about it because I think gaming being considered a sport is important. Even though my compatriot Novril, who does the lion's share of the work on Guilty Bits, I'm just the sexy voice on it, he's the one who enticed me to actually start competing. I'm not sure he's the biggest fan of having spectators in video games. He wants people to actually get in and compete and support that way. I think it's okay to have spectators in them. And I'm kind of wondering what you think about that. Like, there are some fighting games I want to compete in, but others like Marvel 3, I don't want to really play or practice, but I'd like to watch. And what do you think about a person who likes to watch fighting game tournaments or League of Legends tournaments or whatever, but has no desire at all to play? Do you think that they are damaging in any way?
No. How is that any different than a person who wishes to watch football but not play it?
Well, in fighting games, there's a bit of an issue, and stream monstering has kind of helped it, and that's that we have these high-level players who get donations from their various stream monster kind of audience, and they're able to have much more money to afford events, and they're able to make much bigger names and have more clout and pull, and basically be able to break rules at events when it comes to tournament seating and how long is acceptable for them to wait when their name gets called for a match and whatnot.
Okay, but so you've touched on a number of different things there, so let me break it down into the categories there.
Mm-hmm.
So, fan sponsorship. I see that as nothing more than what Olympic athletes do now. They will take donations from people who want to help them get to the Olympics, whether it be for renting facilities, whatever else. In this case, they're showing off them playing the game and their different tactics and how they play the game, and people are giving them money because they like what they're seeing. There's no difference there, so no, that's not a problem.
Okay.
For them to get to events and everything else because of that, again, No problem. Again, same thing happens with Olympians. Now, the whole rules thing at events and everything else, I blame the event sponsors on that.
So if a high level player is kind of brushing off a tournament call because he went off to go sell drugs or eat lunch.
You have 2 minutes to arrive at your seat. You were 3 seconds late. You have now forfeited next player. Mm-hmm. That is an event problem. If they are willing to give these professional athletes now extra time because of their name or whatever else, that is real. That it's the fault of the player, absolutely, because you're getting an ego. But if the guys who are holding the event are not willing to put their foot down and say, you will follow our rules or you will forfeit, I'm sorry, your fan base can kiss my ass. You follow the rules, just like any other sport. If an Olympian is late to get to the frickin' line, he's not allowed to race. If you're going to step into the arena and you're going to try and do a asshole professional sport person persona, you have to be ready to actually take the fines, and in this case it would be, you're not playing this time.
You know what, I would tend to agree, and this is an issue in the fighting game community a little bit, and it's that tournament organizers, because they have to put in so much work and get so little back, they're kind of afraid to do this because a big name sponsored player will bring in stream numbers which could bring in ad revenue, and they're kind of afraid. Generally an event will talk about the player who will be there, who is guaranteed to be there, and sometimes that event has actually paid for that player to fly there, right? Like, this is stuff that's currently a thing. And
that's okay. I'm okay with that. It's just, if we want to be considered actual athletes in this regard, or professionals, you've got to act it. If you want to act like a whiny little bitch, then the repercussions have to happen, and somebody has to put their foot down. In fact, I would say the event shouldn't be talking to the player at that point. The event needs to talk to the sponsor and say, have your person there on time.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much time to do these things. It's costing money. If they don't arrive on time, this is the fee involved, or the person doesn't play.
So Avo should talk to Mad Cats or Razor and whatnot and go, hey, can you get your guy in line?
That is just it. Have your guy act professional. These events actually do now have a responsibility with those sponsors for the person to act responsibly. A race car driver, if he starts acting out, getting drunk, and making an ass of himself out in public, they will drop that guy like a fucking ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm. No,
it's time. If we want the gaming community to be seen as more than immature children, even internally to our own group, we need to get off our high horses. The egos need to be dropped. We need to act professional.
Good point. Dave, I agree with you entirely, and you've helped me kind of resolve this confusing issue in my own head. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Shoutouts to you. What else we got to talk about for this one?
Steam.
Steam Summer Sale.
I threw that one in there, and it's not so much the Steam Summer Sale that I want to talk about as much as what Steam has introduced just before the summer sale.
Cards?
Cards. Now, the Escapists, the guys that were on there a while back, moved their show onto Penny Arcade.
Extra Credits.
Extra Credits has talked about, in a number of cases, gamification of life. Steam...
Achievement earned. Mention gamification on podcast.
Exactly. That's 2 cards, by the way.
Yes!
Steam has managed to gamify even the very use of Steam itself. And they ran their beta right up to the point, right before the Steam sale started this year, and then boom. A lot of the games that were shown during that day all of a sudden had card support. And if anything, much like achievements, which Steam already has, or trophies, this caused a mass frenzy of, I've got to have that game that has cards. And it's even more, I'm gonna call it impressive, even though I despise what it does. But they made a marketplace for cards. And you can only get, if a game offers 8 cards, you can only get 4 through playing the game. It's not based on achievements, or even the amount of time you put into the game. You could play the game for 4 hours and get 1 card. You could play a game for 20 minutes and get all 4. But you can only get those 4. The only way to get the other 4 are through buying the cards or trading other cards from other games. I find that absolutely ridiculous because I don't want to trade with people. There's a marketplace for selling, but there's no marketplace for trading. Brilliant move on Steam's part for making a whole shitload of cash over the Steam sale based on the cards, but still very despicable. But I found even myself, every year during each of the sales, there's been a whole bunch of objectives you can do to get even back then it was the badge. And that badge did diddly fucking squat up until this year. Now the badge gives you experience, which goes to your total Steam level, which allows you to do more with your profile, and have more friends on there, and you'll get emoticons for chat, or coupons, backgrounds for your profile, and I'm sure they made a killing this year, because even the amount that they take from your sale is based on how much that card is going to sell. So for 11-cent card that you're trying to sell, they sell it for 13, because that's 2 cents they're taking from that sale.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply that by the millions of cards that got transacted, and of course that's all percentage based, not just 2 cents per card. And they made a killing this year.
It is smart. It is smart to add these elements because while I will look at certain trophies and achievements and go, oh, this is interesting, I want to get that, I don't kind of whore these things. I like to play games for the sake of the game itself. However, there are a lot of people with a lot of money who want to play games for the sake of these extra things, these extraneous elements. Now, there are some game devs who would argue that these things are harmful because it keeps people from playing the game. Maybe this will become true in the future. The far future. We're in the future now. But I'm okay with, I'm okay with people contributing money for little fluff that doesn't matter to make a service better, to let me play games for what I feel matters most, right? So I'm okay with that. And I'll probably join some card trading myself when I boot up Steam again, because I've had a stupid busy July and haven't really touched Steam.
I mean, the inner nerd in me, especially the Half-Life nerd, kind of hopes that all that money gets put towards a Half-Life 3. I've been hoping for that for years. That Half-Life 3 would miraculously be announced and oh my god, it's here sort of thing. But I found even myself, I bought a few cards during the sale. I sold a whole bunch of cards during the sale. Even last night, another level of the brilliance, I guess, to it is each game doesn't just have one rank of the badge. It's up to, I think it's 3 or 5 ranks. So for a game that has 8 cards, you get to earn 4. That's now 8, 16, 20 cards you'd have to buy or somehow otherwise get to get max level in that badge.
This is all fine and dandy, but does Steam let multiple people log in at the same computer yet?
On the same account? No.
Same computer. Because we've been playing a lot of Jamestown on your machine.
Oh, okay. So you mean me being logged in, you being logged in so you get achievements.
Yeah, that's right.
Not yet, no.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, that's not an option yet. I can see it coming eventually. I mean, even Sony's doing that for PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they were adamant they weren't going to do that for PS3. Kinda sucked in a lot of ways. Especially when I tried to do that and realized we were logging each other out when me and Nick were doing it. But just back to Steam for a second there. It's kind of interesting how they do it too, because there's two different types of cards. There's the regular card, and then there's the rare foil card. You can guess the foil cards are selling for a lot more.
I have a question about foil cards. How? Let me explain a foil card to you, okay? A foil card has this thing in it called foil that makes it look and feel physically different from its counterpart, okay? Your television does not make foil.
Okay.
So how does this card work exactly?
It has a grayish border on the outside that makes it resemble a foil card.
How does that resemble a foil card?
So anyway, I've gotten a couple...
Whoa, no, is that it?
Yes, that's it.
Holy fuck, you're serious, too.
So, if you actually bought or somehow managed to get all 8 foil cards to that game, your badge will look different than if you just crafted a badge with the regular 8.
Will it be surrounded by a light gray border?
Yes!
This is what Valve thinks this is foil. Christ.
I'll show you on Steam after this.
I don't want to see it.
No, you've got to. You don't have a choice.
The fuck foil. Shut up, Gabe Newell. Don't fucking give me that shit foil.
But it's rare. It's ones and zeros and it's rare because it has the border.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, it's an interesting idea and it did push a lot of games through. Downside is games that you've already played and finished that all of a sudden had cards added to it you get no credit for, so it's... I know a strategy a lot of people have done for stuff like that they don't want to play the game again. They'll boot the game up, get into the game, and then turn their TV off for the next 8 hours.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Although there are some games I'd like to play the PC version of again. I played the shit ton out of Bastion on Xbox 360. So I'd like to play through the game again on PC.
Yeah.
Get the extra turret spell.
I was a little bit pissed off at that one because I finished Bastion again less than 3 days before the Steam sale and got card support. So I will admit, I just turned that game on, put it into the game, and then walked away for an hour. Had all my cards.
Gotcha.
That's the key there, though. It can be an hour to get all your cards, or it could be for fucking ever. FTL, I've been playing on and off, and I probably put 8 hours into it, and I finally got my 4th card. And you're not just guaranteed to get 4 separate cards. You can get duplicates, which I've gotten a number of times. Kind of a piss off. So you can just sell those.
Gotcha.
Or you can hang on to it and go for a second level in that badge. The last thing they do, and this is based off your Steam level, so how many badges you have, everything else, how many games you have. Every 10 levels, you get an extra 10% chance of getting a booster pack each week for a certain game. Each booster pack gives you 3 random cards. So you might get a foil card, Carlos. Just hold yourself back.
You can't see it on the stream. On the podcast. But I am committing seppuku right now.
But the key here is it only gives you the chance of getting a booster pack if you've got the badge to that game. It's basically there to either do a second level with or to sell.
I guess the point of the matter is an interesting way for Valve to make money that doesn't force people to take part in it if they don't want to.
It's completely aesthetic.
Which is totally fine. This is also what Halo Reach did with its experience bar that only gave you aesthetic rewards. Totally okay with that. certain interfaces could choose to do that. I always thought Animal Crossing would be better as instead of a standalone game, as being just the interface for the Nintendo system. Like, you can go to your game immediately, or you can go to your Animal Crossing town, which is your system's UI.
Would have been more intelligent what they did.
So, let's say you're
go over
going
to the weather store, go over to the game store.
So let's say you're going down on Tara Bradford, right? And you see her green muff, okay? Do you sniff it?
If I was closer to a wall, I'd hit my head with it.
This has been Carlos.
And this has been Dave.
Two Fat Guys Talk Games, signing off.
Thank God.
I was thinking about the green muff thing the whole time. I'd sniff it.
So, if you've liked what you heard, you want to leave us some feedback, you want to give us some criticism, whatever, our podcast site is tfgtg.blogspot.com, where you can also find the feed link and our YouTube channel.
You can also find us on Twitter at tfgtg. Yeah. There's no way to continue that. So
There's no way to continue that sentence.
Please leave us some feedback. We accept good and bad. We will usually respond, seeing as we have such a small group audience.
We do have thousands of millions of followers, so we might not respond to you right away.
Sure, let's go with that.